Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to our close reading lesson. Today we're going to discuss how to do a close reading. So what is a close reading? First and foremost, a close reading is a careful and purposeful reading of a text. Close reading is a way that it slows us down and allows us to interpret difficult pages and passages. It helps to keep us focused on our purpose for reading, and we leave our thinking on the page so that we can come back to it later on, like when we've got to write a paper or prepare for a discussion. So a close reading is where we can actively interact with the text. It is a multi-step process that involves reading a text more than one time. That's the key aspect here, is you're reading a text more than once. Close reading always involves marking the text, or what we refer to as annotating a text. To annotate means to supply with critical and explanatory notes. For example, on the side in the margins, you're going to explain what a passage or a paragraph may have meant. Annotating is more than just highlighting. Annotating is your thinking and your conversation with the text in the margins of the page. So here's a couple examples of what annotating or close reading looks like. As you can see in this first passage, there's a lot of writing, different colors. In the second passage, we have circling and underlining. We have our notes in the margin. And then in the third passage, we have some highlighting going on here along with our notes in the margin. All of these things are ways that we show our annotating of our text. So what does close reading not look like? If you look in our first story here, this young girl is playing with her dog. She's not really working with the story. In the middle, we have somebody sitting in a hammock just enjoying reading. She's not doing any markup of the text. And the last picture here, we got everybody playing instruments. The kid's book is on his head. That's definitely not close reading. You need to be able to concentrate. So this is how we will practice close reading this year. We have 5 steps that we're always going to use. The first one, we will number the paragraphs. Second, you're going to chunk the text. That means you're going to break it down into small sections and read one section at a time. Third is underlining, circling, or highlighting. And you always want to do this with a purpose. You're not doing it brainlessly, just underlining a word because you think, oh, that's going to look good to underline. Then the fourth step is writing in the left margin what you believe the author is saying. And in the fifth step is writing in the right margin where we're digging deeper into the text and we're maybe describing what the author's doing. So step 1, the very first thing you want to do is number your paragraphs. Step 2, you're going to chunk the information or the text. And this is breaking the text up into smaller sections. So if you look at our passage on the side here, they drew a line right in the middle to break that text into 2 pieces for the reading. And that will then help you to break down your thinking and make it a little bit more manageable. Third, when we underline, circle, or highlight, we want to make sure that we're doing it with a purpose. We don't want to do it just to do it. So in an informative article, you're going to look for claims that an author is making, and then you're going to look for the evidence that they use to support that claim. In poetry, you're going to look for figurative language and imagery. But when you're underlining, highlighting, you're looking for claims and big ideas or key details. You can also circle. Circling is used for vocab and trying to help you understand or define what a vocab might be based on the context clues from the story. Step 4, what the author is saying. This is what you're writing in the left margin. You should write these very limited in words. You want to be short and sweet, but you want to be clear and specific. And then step 5, in the right margin, what the author is doing. You're digging deeper into the passage. So after you understand what the author is saying, you're going to examine what the author is doing. And you're going to look for power verbs to identify the purpose, arguing or comparing, describing, blaming. And you can ask questions in the right margin that help you understand this a little bit more. This is our Thieves page. This is one of your pages from your ELA toolkit. And we use this to help us when we annotate mostly nonfiction pieces, but you can use it for a lot of pieces. You're looking for titles and headings, the introduction, each first sentence in a section, visuals or vocabulary, end of an article or end of chapter questions, and then summarizing your thinking. This summarize your thinking, the S is a big thing for all our annotating. Those are your notes in the margin. And then finally, this is a worksheet that you may see as an assignment after you've done a close read, where you are revisiting a section of the text, or you're thinking about the author's choices of patterns and structure. You will then pick a paragraph from that text that grabbed your interest, and you're going to explain the power of this passage.